What is up, everybody? I'm gonna get this stream going here in just a moment. Do a couple audio checks. If y'all can hear me, type something in the chat. Otherwise, we'll be starting to jump into this relatively shortly. All right. Hey, Josh. Everyone here that's at least watching. Josh is in the chat. Josh is, he's the obviously one of my best friends ever. But Josh is the other person that runs Coast to Coast Designs. He is the one that makes everything come to life. He makes it look pretty. Makes it look amazing. He does all the lighting jobs. He does all the pyro, does the UV mapping. Literally without him, this channel would not even exist, as it was his channel to begin with. I just do the building stuff. Yeah. So, hi, Josh. I hope you're having a great Monday on the other side of town over there. Okay. So, let's see. Let's jump into SketchUp. And we're going to do a live build today of Wrestlemania 26. So we're going to fire up SketchUp here. Don't sell yourself short. If I didn't have you or do your designs, that'd be nothing. Hey, I'm really excited about this. And Josh, honestly, thank you so much. I mean, the stuff that you and I have made with this channel, I'm so immensely proud of it. So, yeah. Well, let's dive into SketchUp. I'm going to fix my settings here just so it pulls up everything. So, application capture and SketchUp. Let's see. There we go. All right. Okay, cool. Well, let's dive into this. As you guys can see, this is the ziggurat stage, right? This is, I don't know if the proper name for it, but this is going to be the WrestleMania 26 stage that looked like the pyramid. So we're going to do a live build of this. And stage is WWE. Let's build some stage code. Let's do it. All right, let's jump into this. And also, I'll be watching the chat. So if you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, I'll try and talk through it. But this is probably like one of my favorite sets ever. I built it a few times, but I definitely need like a upgraded revision. So we're going to just jump right into it. I made my own production design template quite a while ago. And this is like literally where I start. What kind of references are you using when fleshing out stage geometry? Like Mark, are you talking about like what kind, like how do I figure it out and everything? Dude, I mean, over the years, I've made all these templates and they're true to scale and everything, and so it's literally just like plug and play to me. You guys will see here kind of like how I start, and then we'll start going from there. So let's see. Last Mania stage with the Roman Reigns interesting was so good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to see the WrestleMania 41 set that we've made, at least for the channel. Like I said, I've said it before, but this is like probably my favorite set ever. The upcoming WrestleMania set that we made. So, all right. Did you see they started the construction for the WrestleMania 40 stage yesterday? Yes, I did. There's a couple pictures I saw of it. It looks like there's going to be a lot of rigging from the ceiling, so I'm curious to see what they do. I was kind of breaking down little elements of the photos that were on Twitter yesterday, and I noticed some trusses, and I was very curious to know basically how it was going to be all laid out. So yeah, super excited to see. What's your favorite one? WrestleMania 40 stage was so good. The one of WrestleMania 40 was so good. I can't imagine this. Like my favorite WrestleMania as a whole. My favorite WrestleMania as a whole is probably 30, and that was because I was there in person. So, super special, super special to me. And then, yeah, do you calculate the panel height and width, or is it just a guesstimate? Mark, it's a little bit of both. Like, I have all the right components, but like, unless I'm there with a tape measurer, I'm probably not going to have it like exactly perfect. But it's going to be probably down to like the nearest millimeter, but probably not to the nearest half millimeter, if that makes sense. So, all right, but let's. I appreciate all the questions, guys. But let's jump into this. So, with Stageco, Stageco is like the main company that WWE and a lot of like big touring festivals will use to make these large scale stages. Some of these stages, they're just too big that you can't just rig everything from the ceiling and call it a day. And most of these stages are outside, and so they need something strong that's going to hold a lot of weight, and Stageco is the company that they use. I was fortunate enough to get a lot of information. I have a couple stage books of my own, so there's some dimensions in there, and I was able to kind of build out this template on my own. And so when I go through like some of the WrestleMania 26 photos, we'll be able to see basically how things were assembled. But we're going to start with this piece over here. This is a base frame piece. I have 4 different ones. I have ones for a larger truss, the standard 750 truss, and then some on plywood blocks, and then another one on plywood blocks. So, but for WrestleMania 26, we are going to start with the regular plywood block. I think I actually already opened up one file before. Yeah, so we'll close out of that one, and we will just sit with the other one. So yeah, WrestleMania 26. This is a really cool set. It's the ancient pyramid, and we are going to just start literally grabbing pieces that I know are part of this, at least for the general setup. So we will grab some towers, and we'll grab a roof truss. And so I'll highlight a few of these. And I believe I'm going to need all 3. And actually, I'm going to show you guys how I make custom ones. So let's see. We're going to go with this piece over here too. So you guys are seeing right now. If you are just tuning in, this is a live build of the WrestleMania 26 set in SketchUp. And we are going to start just attaching pieces. So if you guys look here on my cursor, I have a plus sign, and this is my attachment point, and I have it in all of my models. And I'll actually turn on the hidden view here so you guys can see a little bit better. So everything looks a little bit clearer, but I have all these plus signs, and so yeah, these are attachment points. So when I do attach, piece to piece, there's no guesswork on if it's actually sitting, correctly on there. It will snap itself into place, and exactly. It's pretty much like a Lego set for me. I had to make this on my own. This took a long old time. But yeah, it's basically like a Lego set. With the WrestleMania 26 set, they only have, the first piece of it starts at one tower high. So it's pretty easy to start following along. And we'll take our connector up here. This is a pretty key piece, actually, just throughout this set as a whole in general. We will take that and we will go over here. We'll snap that into place. So because of that tower, now we are able to attach, the roof trusses and such. So, and I'm actually going to be jumping back and forth between an old model that I have for WrestleMania, and it's, like I said, it's a little bit outdated. So I just want to make something new, but also break this down and show you guys, how it's done, and basically how I do things as well. So this one was made from a lot of reference images, right? So like it's close, but there's just a lot of things I would still probably change about this. But it's going to follow the same lineup regardless. So when I do look at photos of the set, I will always see like what pieces they used, and I'll break it down in numbers essentially. So I know that this is a 5 2 2 5 5. So 5 2 2 5 5. So I'll go back over here, and I know from my tower it will be 5. So I count the triangles basically in here. So I'll count the triangles, and it was 5 2 2 5 5. And I'm pretty sure, that's the way it was on the actual set. That's usually, like I said, I will always build my stages from photos initially. Since I know the last one was made from photos, I don't really have to do a lot of the guesswork. But like I said, that last model, the polygons are super high in it, so I've just updated my template over time to make it a little bit more poly friendly, and we're able to make a much cleaner build of this. We'll zoom in, and I will answer a couple questions right after I'm done snapping that one together. Okay. The WrestleMania 30 stage is so slept on. Yeah, man, this is a little fun fact for you guys. I'm pretty sure, as far as size goes, it's the largest one that they've done. Maybe 37 is its competitor as far as height, but the WrestleMania 30 stage is taller than the 33 stage. Then yes, is this SketchUp? Yep. Actually pretty impressive. Yeah. Everything's references, right? I just had to model a bunch of this stuff as time went on. Did you remix that Roman Reigns entrance theme? Yeah, I did it on my laptop here. I do a lot of things musically, so that was a really cool one for me to do. And for the sake of this, I'm actually going to make this tower number 1, WM26. So this will be a editable component. So if I go over here, if I need to select it, I'll be able to work in both models. The SD27 stage is twice the height. Yeah, they messed it up. Do you have any idea how to get into this industry in real life? Man, I'm working on it myself. I'm always trying to figure out just kind of how I can break in a little bit more. There's a lot of stuff that I've done just on my own. I work with a couple local teams out here, so it's just I'm always actually trying to get real world experience whenever I can. All right. Okay, so you guys are actually going to see me have to make a truss here in real time, because I just realized I do not have the corner truss that I am looking for. And I guess I can make something that's like kind of like it, but there is a corner piece that I do not have made yet. So we're gonna make it. Make it right here. The Wrestlemania 36 stage was honestly better than 35. The PC one, the Performance Center stage, I mean it's a competitor for sure compared to 35. But no, that 35 stage, dude, it was cool. It was just underwhelming for the event, right? In any other context, it would have been, I think, pretty awesome. But for that show in particular, it just did not go over well. Well, yeah, we've already made the concept stage for this upcoming WrestleMania. It'll be uploaded pretty soon here, so really excited for you guys to see that. How many more days until we see the set? I'm really looking forward to it. Man, I'm not the person to be asking that. That belongs over to Josh, and I know he's working diligently on it. So whenever that's ready, it will be ready. All right. So what you guys are seeing here is me actually making an attachment piece in real time. And if I did this right, which I did not when I initially made this truss, then I would say that this would be pretty easy, but that is not the case. How many more? Or okay. But no, Bless making the WrestleMania 26 stage, but not the 41 stage. It's because I've already made the 41 stage. It'll be up, okay? It's coming along. It's coming along. I mean, the stage itself is already done. We are just in the final moments of actually piecing it together in a video format. All right, and so I'm going to use a tool here. This is like one of my favorite tools ever. It's called Lines to Tubes. And so I highlight all of these lines. I go over here. I have my material, Stagecoach steel. I know the thickness in which I have to make this. I'm pretty sure it's 42 millimeters, and I'll always make it 8 to keep it pretty poly friendly. And there we go. Now we have our corner truss piece, and it looks pretty dang good. 910 to 35, the stage wasn't even the issue. Whoever did the lighting rigs did a real bad job. I was in the section that got blinded during multiple matches. Okay, so I actually do have something to say about the lighting at shows. It's like a catch-22. On TV, the lighting looks really good, right? And they want to showcase, that kind of atmosphere. But at the same time, it means that you guys have to get blinded in the crowd. They are not purposely trying to blind you, and they understand that these lights are very blinding. So, that's why, if you look back at WrestleMania 40 in particular, WrestleMania 40 is, super dark. And it was because they didn't want to blind everyone. And that is it's just a different regime at that point. So, I'm cutting the file on camera angles as we speak. Yeah, there you go. So everyone, look at Josh's chat. It's coming along. It's coming along. Making the stage is one thing. That's what Chris is showing you here, and then we have to bring it to life. And that is exactly it. This channel does not run off of one or the other alone. I have to design these. Josh brings them to life, and they are both heavy tasks. Thank you for subscribing. I'm pretty sure that was the subscription noise. Pretty sure. I'm still trying to figure this out with Streamlabs. All right, and now we're going to go to our corner piece. And if I remember correctly, this is like 5 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then we have a corner block on the end. So this is the easiest way to do this, is I will take this, I will slide it over. If you see on the bottom here, I'll put 5650 millimeters, which is how long that truss is. And I'll multiply it by 4. And now we have our corner piece. Now I'll go back to Stageco. And this is my tower. We'll jump back over here. We'll grab that. Grab that, and we have one more. It will be that tower over there. We'll drop that in. Start realigning everything. Once you get like one corner, everything else really starts to flow together. That is like the hardest part about this set, is just getting this first piece done, and then everything really starts moving. All right. Yeah, Wrestlemania 41. Which software? Well, here, I'm going to go through a couple of these questions. Which software do you use for free? Do you use pay to free? We both pay for SketchUp. So this SketchUp 2025, we've paid for it. So there is a free version out there. And actually, if you get SketchUp 2017, it's completely free and you can do the same things. Most of my models were made in SketchUp 2017 before I jumped over to 2025, and that was pretty recent. Wrestlemania 41 will be the first WM stage post Robinson era. It'll be interesting. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. Like, every large Wrestlemania stage has been designed by the same guy. Super legend Jason Robinson. And he's done every single stage, I think, since WrestleMania 17. And this will be the first one that he has not made in that era, which is like crazy. So it'll be a really interesting thing to actually see. Their new production manager has done a really good job, and so I still have like pretty high hopes for this set. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see for sure. I wonder kind of how different or similar it's going to be to a Jason Robinson design. All right, so let's attach this up here. Whoops. We're going to attach this. All right, and we will see in that WrestleMania 26 setup. It is 3 custom 5.5. And I'm pretty sure the custom is like 500 millimeters. Almost positive. So let's do that. So we have 2 5s right here. So I'm literally just going to pull those over. And I'm going to drag that over here. There's my guide point. Snap it. There we are. And we're going to move you guys over. Move these guys over 500 millimeters. All right, so this is a crucial point. There's a custom truss that goes in here, right? And we will actually make that custom truss here in just a moment. But I wanted to give myself the proper spacing for it before we jump into it. All right, and let's see. The other piece is not that one. The other side is 55225, so it's literally the exact same thing. Male to female connectors. Boom. Let's copy that whole piece. Bring that over here. Drop these plus signs together. So, boom. All right, now they're connected. And we have to go again, get our corner tower on this side. We'll drop it over here. And I'm sure that there's like easier ways to drop things over at times, but this is just what has worked for me. So you guys are seeing my building process in as real time as it gets. All right. Which 3D software do you use? We use SketchUp Pro 2025. That's what I'm using right here. And then we use Depends R3 for the Pyro renders. And those are the two. So if you guys see, this is our first piece of the Wrestlemania 26 set. I have this truss that's kind of sitting here. That will be important later on. But for right now, I'm actually going to make a unique component. And we will do this, like I said, in real time. We're going to make a custom truss here. So a lot of people would think, okay, well, you know, obviously it doesn't fit, so let's just like shorten it to fit like that. It doesn't work for me, brother. So we will make this unique. I will take this piece, blow it up, and this is my one attachment on this side. So I will actually bring this over to where it lines up right here. And so now I know my new connection point has to be right here. Okay. And because these are just now standard lines, I can move these around. I don't know how many of you do like graphic design and such, but Adobe Illustrator, this is like having the lines bare is basically like having a vector. So I can move these any way I want and my tubing will always stay the same. But I'm pretty sure this is about 25 millimeters if I remember correctly. And my model info needs to be in millimeters. So if you guys don't know this as well, a lot of these WrestleMania stages, when they use Stageco, are made in millimeters. It's absolutely crazy. You know, you would think it's done in like feet or whatever, but yeah, it's straight up just, okay, how many millimeters? So I have 25 millimeters right here between my connector and the tubing, and I will make another point that is 25 millimeters, and this is my reference point right here. So I'll jump in. You see at the bottom where it says length in the bottom right corner, it says 25, so I know right there. And I will actually just drag this over now. I'll snap it to 25. And I know that in the actual set, it doesn't have the connector points right there. It's kind of just a gap. And then I will delete that point and I'll go back to lines to tubes and I'll say that's 50 with 8. And there we go. And actually, I'm actually going to redo that because I'm pretty sure it's 42, just like the other ones. Don't know why I jumped ahead of that. There we go. All right, looks much better. And now we have a custom truss piece. And that piece right there is actually very essential because every piece of this pyramid now will follow the guide points of these two posts. So let's jump back and see what our next level brings us to. Our next level will follow the same exact path, except they will actually flip the 3, 5, 5. So it'll be 3, 5, 5, or 3 custom 5, 5. And then 5, 2, 2, 5. Okay, so let's jump back over here. Brother, say again which 3D software you use. Please mention the name. It is Trimble SketchUp 2025. Trimble SketchUp 2025. So we'll highlight all of this. We'll go around and whoops, we are going to flip this over because it is, we'll flip this one over because it's male to female. There we go. Now we have that, and we'll guide this over. And this is a really interesting thing about this set is that it is just like, it is all over the place as far as where the connection points actually go. And there's a lot of them. So you guys will see, but like I said, that lower base, that's the hardest one. After everything else, you know, you start just taking away pieces and pieces and pieces and pieces. And eventually it fixes itself out. And we'll flip that. You guys can see I'm flipping actually each one of these one by one. This is just to get my connector points back to its origins, if you will. Oops, forgot to bring that over. No way. All right, I got that pretty dang close, 830. All right, so let's bring that back over. Bring this one back over and this one right here. All right, cool. So this is our second base. And I'll fix these towers in just a moment because these towers will need an additional piece added onto it. And we're gonna jump over. So that's a 3 tower up there, and it's 2 towers high now. All right. So I'll add this. All right, this is another point that I'm going to adjust. So I have my 3 towers here. I'm going to make them all unique, and I'm going to add an extra one on top. And I know that's 5,600 millimeters. And we'll add our corner block to this one again. And this is where our roof truss will attach. Boom, right there. We'll take our roof truss. We'll highlight them all. And don't worry, these will all start centering themselves. You guys are getting a live look on how I model things because it is not always squeaky clean, but it becomes squeaky clean towards the end here. We'll take that tower head. Add it over here. We'll actually take the old one out of the model. If you guys want to know this as well, I try and stay pretty organized when I'm doing all my work. So when I am doing this, like all of my tower heads are being able to edit at the same time, right? Like I can highlight the same components and I can work on the same ones all at the same time. That's just how I keep my workflow. So we'll take that tower out and take this one out. We'll move this one over here. And we just start going up piece by piece. And let's see, on the other side of things, I'm pretty sure it's the same pattern, 522, right? So 5225, or no, 5522. Cool. And we can see that here. So let's grab this, 5522. Again, I mean, it's the same length as the other side, but the truss configuration, it's a little bit different. I don't know, truthfully, if there's a rhyme or reason why it's different or why it wouldn't just be mirrored to be the same, but it could just be the way that they built it that day, and that's all it comes down to. So who knows? Who knows? One thing's for sure, I don't. So all right, let's drop that tower over here, and we're going to realign this shortly. And there's a really key thing that I found in a photo one time of it was like a bridge truss. So I actually know the length roughly of how far this is supposed to be set back. And it would actually track if it was the right piece as well. Okay, so we have our second piece. And actually, on this one, a curtain will hang from it, and that will be the curtain that gives us our LED walls and our cutoffs and everything. So, all right. So if you guys see, I've lined it up here. I know that this goes back 5750, and the reason why is because there is a base truss that attaches to it, which is pretty important here. All right. I'm going to catch up on the chat here really quick. Trimble SketchUp and Depends R3. Thanks, Josh, for mentioning that. I tried mentioning it as much as I can. Man, I didn't realize that SketchUp split from Google. Yeah, man, it was a dark day. But I mean, it is what it is. Big fan, bro. You're a genius. WWE needs to hire you. I appreciate it. Hopefully one day they will. Hopefully one day. Do you enjoy watching wrestling, or did you just get in for the stages? No, man. I've been a big fan as long as I can remember. I love the story. It's the stages are. That's just an added bonus, right? But I've always enjoyed the actual product too. So I'm always invested in what things are actually going on TV. All right, we're gonna jump back over here. So now we have 4 pieces that take us to the back. And if you guys see here, we'll make our truss. This is before things start getting a little complicated, but it is the importance of keeping everything clean as possible. That's why I'm actually rebuilding this set, because the other one I felt like was just like a geometric mess, for lack of a better term. And I've really wanted to clean up this model for a long time. So I've like a good reference, as I've already made this before, but this will be a really, really clean, friendly version. And honestly, you know what? This might even be something that I upload for everyone else's 3D use if you guys are interested in that. We are launching a membership platform for the channel, so it might be something that I add in there, to provide you guys with at least like a model or something per month, or stuff that we're still figuring out. All right, so I'm just gonna copy that. And 5600 millimeters, and let's delete that floating stage base. So now we have something here. When will the WrestleMania 41 set reveal be ready? It'll be a couple more days. As Josh said. Josh, also thanks for moderating the chat a little bit while we do this. So I wish WWE could use one of your designs one day, because your designs are so amazing, man. I appreciate that. Hopefully one day Josh and I are able to do some previs work for them or something like that. That would be awesome. It'd be a really cool thing. I watched your first video, 2016 WrestleMania 32 stage video. Yeah, man, that was before I came on board. That was all Josh. So, and I know it's a pretty high viewed video. So, Josh, excellent job there. Um, Man, all the way from Turkey. That's awesome. That's cool. We've got global fans. Global fans. Dropping that into 2K would be fun. Hey, Mark, it's something that I'm open to. That's why I don't mind, trying to, eventually come up with a plan to release some of these models for you guys because, I see I see the stuff that 2K does and I'm not trying to be a hater, but it could be way more accurate. And as someone that pays attention to a lot of this detail, sometimes it irks me of how careless sometimes things seem. And I understand if it's like a time issue or something like that, but sometimes it's just they just don't want to throw the detail in there, or they know that they can get by without doing it. And I'm always just a big proponent of, man, just do it, if you can, do it, or if not, hire me to do it. I'll do it. So 2K, if anyone from 2K is watching this, hire me. Okay, working in the background. Yeah, Josh, I know you're a hardworking boy. So, I have the University of Phoenix Stadium ripped from NFL, so it'd be pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mean we have it as well. I usually don't build my sets inside the stadiums when I am starting to put them together. Like, I'll open up the stadium model and I will know the general area of what I need to build in, right? So I'll have a space and I'll know, okay, I can't go any higher than this point and I can't go any wider than this point. And so let's build everything in there. And that's how usually, we get our stages to fit into that box. Neve, I think I said that right. I appreciate the comment. Yeah, hopefully one day they do hire us. That'd be cool. All right, let's move on to the third level. And the third level gets a little complicated here, but it's going to follow the basic general consensus. So we're still going to sit at 5-2-2 custom 3 in the middle. We'll go one tower up, and now we're taking away a 5-piece truss from each side. So let's do that. But there is a big piece that we will not be able to continue moving onward with. And you guys will see that here very shortly. Man, I wish I had some music going on in the back. Usually I do. Usually when I'm making these, I have some music, playing, but I also don't want to get copyright, and I want to pay attention to the chat going on here. What kind of design you going for? Are you talking about for WrestleMania? For our WrestleMania 41 set? Because if it's for our WrestleMania 41 set, I'll tell you this much, is that our design is not the Las Vegas sign. Contrary to popular belief, I think a lot of people thought that we were going to go in that direction. We are not utilizing the Las Vegas sign, but it was an idea at one point. It's just they've used that for other sets before. No Way Out 2008, Vengeance 2005. We even did it ourselves in a SummerSlam 2021 concept. So it was just something I wanted to think outside of the box. And one of the first ideas I came up with, I just didn't know how I was going to build it. So once I figured out, okay, I can build it this way, then, everything kind of just connected from there. And we got our set. And I think our set, when you guys see it, my hope is that you guys look at it and you think, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that, but that definitely screams Las Vegas. And that's what I want to hold on to. It's not anything in particular, but I think it combined a lot of Vegas elements that I drew inspiration from, and yeah, hopefully you guys really like it. All right, we're gonna go back over to Stagecoach. We're gonna grab these 2 corner block pieces. So these are actually going to sit on the ends here. We're about 45 minutes into the stream now. I think I'm on track. That first base, man, that takes a long time. Like I said, once everything is done there, you know, everything else kind of flows itself together. But let's grab, oh, okay, I did not fix that piece. All right, this is interesting. Okay, you guys are going to see another thing in real time. I'm going to adjust another piece here because for whatever reason, my block did not do what I needed it to do when I edited it the first time in SketchUp. So I'm going to take this corner piece here, this corner connector, because that is my plus connector piece. My, you know, it's a male connection piece. I hate saying it that way. It sounds like so bizarre, but that's how it's described as, you know, especially in like the stage building books. So I'll take that. We're going to get rid of the old one as soon as we line it up. And let's get that one out of here. Get the new one in. All right, now we have a tower head that we can use. All right, cool. Plus sign, drag. All right. And we're going to go back over to these towers. And we're going to drop another tower underneath each one. Now, there is going to be a way that I'm going to do this. It's basically just make life a little bit easier for myself. So I'm going to take a measurement from one pillar to the other. Whoops, what'd I do? There we go. All right, from one pillar to the other. If you guys look at the bottom right part of the screen, I can see it is 1123 millimeters. That is a weird number. Why is it like that? All right. Well, it is what it is. 5650 plus 21. It shouldn't be like that, but all right. Well, I guess we'll have to see. It's like that in the other one? I don't know. I guess so. I guess it is. All right. Cool. So 1123. I suppose. We'll see if it's actually measured out on the other side when I drop it in here. Because this will actually kill me if it's not. Because then that means at some point in this model, something was messed up. If this does not match, we're in trouble. And if it doesn't match, then I'm just gonna switch off and we'll go through some other models. 1197. That is weird, man. That's weird. Okay. I'm gonna do some calculations here. We have this line. And we're going to drag it all the way over here. And that makes sense. Okay. 9960. I don't know why the base frames seem like they're slightly off, but it'll have to do. Okay, cool. So we have 3 levels now. This is where it kind of gets a little tricky as far as this set goes. We'll have 2 in the back, 2 connection points in the back. Dude, now I'm so curious now. What does this side say? Model info. Millimeters, cool. drop 1160. It's weird. Okay. All right. I'm not going to worry too much about this. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on this back tower block. And we'll drag 2 of y'all up over. So yeah, the back side of this model is a little more crazy. There's going to be a lot of components that go on here. And we'll actually take a measurement here. Man, it is going to throw me off now, knowing that this concrete block is like slightly off. You guys would never know, but I know. Okay. Yeah, see, that block is not wrong at all. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. But let's line this up. So there's one right there. And we'll go one right here. Okay, so our rear tower is lined up, at least on one side. And this is where the tough part comes in. So they actually ditch, the larger roof trusses over here as this set builds up. I don't really know the rhyme or reason for it. It's a little weird, but it's just something that they did. So we are going to go with the smaller roof trusses, which is an 8, I believe. So 8, 8, 6, 4. So I'll grab an 8, a 6, and a 4, and I know that my pattern now is 8, 8, 6, 4. Cool. So we'll take that, we'll drag it over, and let's drop it right in here. I try and align it close to where I need it to be, but eventually I'll straighten this out as well. So I know our 4, and actually, you know what? It's probably going to have to drop on the end as well with a connector. So let's grab our connector pieces. There's 1, there's 2. So these pieces here, they basically they keep everything in check. I don't know how else to describe that, but they keep everything aligned. These are actual pieces that are used in the actual Wrestlemania sets, and they are basically like roof adapters. So you're able to bridge a few more things over there, and we will drag that 4 over. Alright, where's our plus sign? It's right there. Drag it, drop, and you can see where the connectors line up. And then our next one is a 6, as I mentioned, and then we have 2 8s. So we'll do a 6. And let the plus signs connect. Just drag it, 6, cool. And we have 2 8s. Let's clean up that other one. All right, yeah, sorry about the dead space here, but it takes a little bit of concentration, and we'll make another one that goes past that, and that is 5750 millimeters. Cool. And now you guys can see where it does hang out just a little bit on the front, which is okay. And yeah, there's our bridged gap right there. gonna go back and check out this chat. Dropping that, yeah, okay. You guys are looking good in here. We got 27 viewers right now. Nothing too crazy, but you know, for our second stream ever. The first one is archived. That was kind of our pilot testing. For this one, you know, we're gonna go through a little bit more, and I ironed out a few of the flaws from the first one, so now we have this one. So this is the official number one. So welcome, guys, and hi, Alex, if you're still in the chat over here. How's it going? It's probably gonna come up. It's probably hard to come up with some stuff even when the same image design has been used before. See AEW, Double or Nothing the past few years. Yeah, I mean, dude, there was a lot of ideas that I had for Double or Nothing that I think fit well in an arena setting. In a stadium, it's so much more. It's just a different style of building, right? Like the ideas that I would have for an arena show are so different than what I would do for a stadium show, because I basically have different templates to work with. I might go for a same overall theme, but how I build stuff is going to be totally different. And if I think it warrants to take up as much space as it does. Grand Prix Extreme Wrestling, when you doing the 41 stage concept? We're gonna be dropping the 41 stage pretty soon here, so that's something that you guys gotta keep your eyes out for. Let's see. If Roman used that custom Tribal Chief song, that would be sick. Dude, I feel like Roman's theme right now is kind of a version that we put out for our WrestleMania 40 video. I don't know if I'm never gonna know if someone actually took inspiration from it or not, but you know, every time I hear that theme, I always think of, oh, that sounds like the one that I did on my laptop at home. Okay, so we're going to jump back over here. So it gets a little bit more complicated as we get to the top, but never fear. So we'll actually probably go pretty fast. So we have a 3-block tower and a 4 going up. And let's minimize that. We'll go back over to the stage code template, and let's grab our 3-block tower. And let's drop it over here on this connection point. There we go. And then we'll drag our 4-block tower as well, because I forgot to grab that out of here. Cool. All right. There we are. And we'll grab our tower head again, because we are going to continuously keep going up and up from here. And I believe actually we repeat this pattern. So yeah, there's another 4. So we'll actually repeat this twice. So let's just do that right now. Save ourselves some trouble. However, let's see. Close that window. Yeah, let's, all right. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 3 custom, 5. It's 2, 2, 3 custom, 5. Awesome. All right. Let's go back over here. So there's another 2. So there's that. And then we have a 3. So let's pull that 3 from over here, this roof truss. Bam. Okay. We have a custom piece that will go in there. And I will figure out what that custom piece is, because it's going to have to align in some way. And once you figure out the alignment, everything kind of flows into its own place. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But for right now, I'm going to take that other tower piece and we're going to drop it in over here, and we're going to connect that as well. And I know that I'm going to have to move it again at some point, but it's not going to be right now. So let's take our 5 connector, because I know that that's going to be at the very, very top. All right. So this is the top of the set. So I know where my finish line is now. On top of the set is 5. Let's flip that around. All right, cool. So we're going to get there. Now it's all about filling in the gaps. So let's do it. We'll take this tower and we will move it over. And I'm going to jump over into the chat, see what you guys are saying here really quick as I snap this together. And this is real time, okay? So, you know, as I'm reading your guys' chat, just know that I'm also building this at the same exact time. So, give me a little bit of patience if there's some dead space. All right, how do you know what goes where? I have made this set a handful of times. So the SketchUp model that I'm even referencing was my own, and that was made from a bunch of photos. This is a kind of just like a breakdown for you guys, but also I've wanted to remake, you know, this set to be a little bit more poly friendly, so that if we do use it for a video, you know, in the future, we're able to do it quickly and it's not going to crash out anybody's computers, you know, mine or Josh's. So yeah, that's basically the reason, or how I know what's going to go where. All right, you guys remember what I said about that custom piece. So I know that this tower is going to have to go up at some point. And so I'm just going to make that and have that sit there for the meantime, because I'm going to have to do a couple more things here. Let's go back over to our previous model, and we are going to see, okay, so I have these other gaps, and that's a 4, a 4, 1, 1, 8. So that is a weird setup, but that's what it came down to. 4, 4, 1, 1, 8. So let's grab it. 4, 1, 8. Let's drop it in here. All right. This is also like a huge undertaking. We're an hour in, and I thought we were going to be a lot further with this model by now. I think, you know, we'll still be able to get it done pretty quickly here, but I realize like there's still a lot to do with this set, and you know, when I was thinking about what set I wanted to do last night, I was like, you know, I want to do something that's cool, you know, everyone will want to see it, but it's not something that's, you know, too overly complicated. You know, when I'm working on these guys, usually it doesn't go this quick. Usually I'm so much more, I would say meticulous, but like I just take my time with it. And so sometimes it'll be like a couple days before I actually get everything done. Like with our WrestleMania 41 set that you guys will see, you know, from the time that I actually like came up with the idea to when it actually finally got in Josh's hands. Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was probably like a solid week, or it could have been even slightly longer. But I very much like take my time with a lot of these builds, just because I want to make sure everything looks good, and I want all my bases covered, and so yeah, I'll take as much time as I need to in order to do that. We're gonna drop this down just a little bit so it sits right flush on that truss. That looks about right. Let's zoom back out. W. Yeah. Okay. So let's jump back over this. Do you guys actually buy the music for this for the shows? How much? Do we actually buy the music for the shows? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So Josh covered this. Yeah, we'll use stock tracks, royalty free tracks, something like that. And we'll usually just cover the license there. Nothing that's like pretty crazy. There's technical theater class at my high school that I almost took for lighting, but I did motorsports engineering instead. Man, I wish my high school offered technical theater. At least back when I was in high school. Man, that would have been, yeah, I would have definitely done something like that. I think I actually even remember. I asked my theater teacher at the time in freshman year, how to be a part of like the production team, and um, she totally shot me down. She was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I probably didn't use the right verbiage there either. So it's probably my fault to some degree, um, out there. So okay, let's jump back to this. All right, so we have the same tower up front, except we have one truss that's holding it. And remember that truss that I mentioned at the very beginning, sitting over here? That is that truss that we're talking about. So let's grab it and let's build. So we're going to go over here. And I know that truss sticks out just a little bit too. So we'll be able to find that solid middle ground there. All right, so let's attach that. Okay, everything looks great. We'll make that a group, and actually, here's what I'm going to do to make sure everything goes right. I'm going to make a ground object. So I just basically made a floor, right there, you guys can see. And I'm going to drag the middle part of this beam up to my plus sign, and then I'm going to drag back down. And that will actually, it's weird how that aligns me up to center. Like I said, there's probably way easier ways to do this. It's just not the way I do it, and it's just not the way that I think. So I just go with what works for me. All right, and let's drag that back to the floor. All right, cool. So that is on the floor, and we now have a truss that is lined up center to center, and this is a pretty important piece here, because this will actually it'll tie back over into the Titantron. And we'll be able to actually figure out what that custom piece is here pretty shortly. I don't know why this window keeps trying to move along. All right, we have a hinge, and we have a 2 and a 1, and then another hinge. Okay. So this hinge piece is weird. All right. We have a 5 custom 3-5. So again, we're going to go back to our middle piece right here. We're going to grab that, because this is what's going to end up being our Titantron. and we're going to drag this down. Get a good look at this. All right. I'm actually going to need one other look. And actually, as time goes on, you know, because we don't need these guys anymore, right? I don't need these front pieces because I've already made them. So, you know, it's just something that I'm just going to move on without. Jamie, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. We appreciate the love for the channel. You know, you guys are able to allow us to do this, and you guys are always so great with, you know, feedback and such. So, yeah, we really, really appreciate it. All right, that's 3. Okay, so we have 3 towers here. So this is es importante, as they would say. So that's 3, 3, or that's 8, 8, 8, 3, 4. And that should be right. Okay, cool. That lines up. And is it the same thing over on the other side? The answer is no. All right. So we have kind of a weird setup here. Our Titantron screen is going to be 8, 8, 8, 3, 4, 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4. All right, cool. Okay. So our Titantron screen, we're going to move it up. And because it's 3, 4, 3, 4, I know that is 1120 or 11,200 millimeters. Sounds crazy, but that's exactly how it works. And let's grab a standard 3 tower. All right. And let's build on these towers to get our Titantron. You guys are noticing, I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but I am completely ignoring the other side of this model really quick. And it's just because eventually I'll be able to, you know, take things and move them over. And my phone just fell, if you guys heard that noise. That was rather loud. So sorry about that. All right. Plus sign to plus sign. There we go. Attachment. And we'll grab that 4 tower. We'll put it over. Oh, that did not line up at all. Let's move it over right here. And we'll take that again. Copy, paste. Great. Cool. All right, so this is our Titantron area. So now we will take this, and it's going to be a pretty important piece that comes up right here, actually. I kind of made a little bit of a mistake because this actually will attach to a hinge block. All right. This is by far, if you guys are asking me right now, this is by far the most complicated part of this entire model. What I'm about to do here. It is total guesswork, I will say. I have the right pieces. As far as the angle goes, like, who knows? Okay? I surely don't know. The only person that's going to know is the people that, like, the people at Stageco that built this book, and probably Jason himself. Okay, these are the only people that are going to know for sure what the angle of this is supposed to be. So let's jump back to our Stageco template. We're gonna grab this. We have 1, we have 2. All right, let's make this. So the hinge here is pretty. it's a pretty cool piece in my opinion. I actually have used it a lot in just any stage code design that I've done, whether it's wrestling related or not. I just think it's like a super unique piece. So we're going to make this a group, and we're going to attach on one end the connector point. Get that plus sign somewhere. There we go. Okay, so there's one connector. Let's actually put that in the group itself. And we'll take the other connector on this side. We'll copy that. And we will paste it right in here to the opposite side of that one triangle truss. Okay. All right. And then we will take this piece, and I don't know what I was doing there. We'll take that piece and we'll put it there, and we will take this one and put it here. So plus to plus. Okay. So this is the hardest part, because now I have to figure out somehow how this piece right here is going to stretch between point A and point B. I'm pretty sure there's like online calculators for it, so I think that's probably what I'll end up doing to know for sure. I know my distance, right? Like, so this is where math comes into play. And if you guys don't like math, I'm sorry, but this is where you actually have to use a little bit of brains to figure it out. So I know that my midpoint to midpoint is 4805, okay? So 4,805 millimeters. I also am aware that from base to base, let's see, from base to base, it is roughly 5,692. Okay. This is going to be, I don't like this at all. All right. Okay. Let's do this. All right. From base to base, it's, oh man. Oh, actually. Okay. All right. All right. All right. We've gotten somewhere. We're going to have to figure it out. But because I know, this is the reason why I wanted to clean this up. I know that this, whatever this is not correct. Okay? I know that for sure. So that's why we're going back over here. I wonder, did my lines actually meet up over here? And they do. Okay. Okay, we're going to get somewhere. We are going to get somewhere with this. All right, sorry for the dead space. I'm going to go back over into the chat really quick. Let's read some of this. How long does it take to render these? Yeah, Josh, thank you again for answering a lot of these questions in here. Everyone, if you guys don't know, if you guys are watching, Joshua David, Josh Perry, he runs the YouTube channel with me. He's the original owner of the Coast to Coast Designs channel. So Josh is like, he's the best. He does all the lighting, the pyro, all the renders. They're insane. I build the stuff, but Josh brings it to life. So if you guys see Josh in the chat, feel free to ask him any questions. and he's been doing a great job at answering a lot of these questions while I've been building. So yeah. Do you build these parts or find them? I build these all. I've found them like, in different, catalogs and such, but I've had to model every single one of these pieces that you guys are seeing right now. Better finish that WM37 model one day. Yeah. I don't know when that's going to get done. I actually might even pull that up here for you guys shortly, but, because it doesn't look great. Do you guys ever plan to add a wrestler to an entrance? If we're able to, yes, but we see the comments all the time about like, you guys should work for 2K, all this stuff, and I think it would be cool to work for 2K, in an environment where I'm able to model some of these stages for them. But like with our channel, we focus a lot on the environmental side of things, but we also want to do it right. And so if we can't do it right, then we're not going to do it. And I think you guys are able to focus more on the actual stage itself rather than have it be a 2K comparison, if that makes sense. What do the UVs look like on the LED panels? Mark, are you talking about just like how is everything UV mapped? That's a question more so for Josh. But he maps everything in Depends. So 7DS, yeah, that was really loud. Yeah, I'm sorry about my phone dropping there. Not professionally, mostly hobby work. Yep. Cool. And I can check SmackDown Raw, see what angle they used. It will not be correct in SmackDown versus Raw, especially 2011. I will guarantee that. It will not be even close. I appreciate it, but that model there's nothing accurate about that model at all, besides maybe the shape. Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Love you too. Y'all stages are better than the actual stages in WWE. Appreciate it. In your opinion, what's the best opening pyro for WM? Okay, my all-time favorite opening pyro for WrestleMania is 23. That is the GOAT. That is the best one. It's not even close. The midpoint pyro for 24 is also like pretty insane. But that 23, that WrestleMania 23 pyro, man, it is crazy how beautiful it looks. They just did such a fantastic job with that. That whole stage is insane. Okay. So if you guys are just tuning in, I'm building the WrestleMania 26 set. We're about an hour and 23 into the stream. Roughly, I'm going to want to keep these streams at about like 2 hours or so. I don't want to take up everyone's time, and I also have time to get back in my day. But I think it's a cool thing to kind of just showcase to you guys, how things are done. Or at least on my end. And I know Josh and I have both been discussing, streams of ways that we can, show you guys how, the pyro's done and all that stuff. So just know this is a new feature that we plan on expanding on with the channel. So, dude, I'm really gonna try and find this angle here. Oh my gosh. All right, I just figured it out. I just figured out how we're getting our angle, everybody. No fear. Zero miedo, as Penta would say. All right. Let's go back. Okay, so this line, I'm eventually going to have to intersect with it, okay? Eventually, SketchUp will read that I have to intersect with this. So I'm basically going to take this part right here, and I will zoom in. This is what I'm talking about, little aha moments of how to utilize this program's strengths. So I know that I can grab a hold of my midpoint over there, and it's going to start rotating, right? And when it starts rotating, it's eventually going to have to reach this intersect point. And it gives me a little X right there, if you could see it right in my cursor. That means it's intersected. That means that this line is now my point, and I drew that from the original, from our original landing point. And now, this is the fun part. Dang. You know, I'm happy that I was able to figure that out. You know, we weren't going to sit here and have to do a bunch of hard math. But now we can highlight this whole thing, and we will bring it back to line it up. And it looks a little hidden right there, but everything should, nope, everything should be lining up. Let me try that one more time. Here's the thing, I don't mind taking it off track right now because it's not on track, but I don't mind taking it off track because I already have made my connecting point, right? So I already know it'll still be lined up from where I originally had it. And there is our angle. All right. So pretty important piece that I just got done here. This is always like such a hassle to try and piece it together. Okay. All right. Let's go back to this chat. What's your favorite stage design? Mine's 34. Man, there's a lot of really cool ones. I really love the Wrestlemania 24 set. That's probably an all-time favorite of mine. Wrestlemania 24. I love the 23 set as well. The 23 set I think is super, super cool. 26, obviously, you know, we're working on it right now. This is a favorite of mine. I would also say 29 is a really, really neat set. I just don't like 29 as a pay-per-view, right? Like if that show was better, I'd probably have better affinity towards the set, but I don't. and it sucks. But you know, every time I think of that show, I think of how underwhelming that WrestleMania was. So that's just me. That's just my take. It's not a knock on anybody else, but it's just, it was an underwhelming show, and I think the general consensus knows that. So it is what it is. And then I'd probably say 34 is probably one of the more beautiful stage designs. There's a difference between I'm going to go off on a tangent right here, but there's a difference between a cool WrestleMania set design and a beautiful WrestleMania set. A cool WrestleMania set is like, man, I don't know, like I guess WrestleMania 28 or 38. Like 38's a really cool design, right? Like it's very unique, and it gives kind of like it just gives a feel where you're like, wow, that's really awesome looking. When I see the WrestleMania 34 set, I think of like, man, that is like a visually beautiful set. The colors, the theme, you know, everything. It gives a different feel. And I will actually say this as well. I had that same feeling working on our Vegas set for 41. When I look at our 41 WrestleMania set that you guys will see, our WrestleMania 41 set, is I get that look of like, especially when Josh started sending me renders, I was like, man, this is a beautiful set. Like, this is just, it's visually appealing. The colors are very, you know, it's just very like soft. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a really, really neat set. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. So I'm really excited for everyone to see that. Very, very excited. All right, we are going to go to the other side of this stage because we have now a whole thing to mirror, or a whole piece to mirror, but not without going to the top first. And the top is going to be looks like an 8. So an 8 roof truss attached to the 5. All right. And this is another like really important piece up here that you guys are gonna see. You know, everything in this set I have said is important, but it really is. This whole set is just absolutely crazy. But there's a lot of really big key elements. So we're gonna do 5750, as we mentioned before, for that roof truss. And we're going to go over here. We're going to snag our connector because we already have it in the model. So we'll take that. And we will take the other one. Cool. Let's zoom out and let's drop it in here. If WrestleMania 43 goes to Wembley, that stage would be dope. Yes, it would. Actually, there is I don't care if it's AEW or WrestleMania that goes to Wembley, but I know, I think AEW is running Wembley next year, if I'm not mistaken, for All In. And, I have a set idea that I absolutely love, and I think it's kind of more tailored towards that AEW style, to be honest. With how they build their stages and such. I still think it's a cool set, but the style in which I made this is definitely more fitting for AEW. But there is a set that I have kind of in the backlog. It's been started, but it has not been finished. But that would probably be like a WrestleMania-esque style set, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'd love to see another big event happen at Wembley. Can't wait to hear the weekend for the next 20 WrestleManias. Yeah. I don't know if I was dreaming this or what, but I feel like I had heard somewhere that this is the Weeknd's last album, the album that just came out. I heard that was the last album that the Weeknd will have like on Interscope or whichever record label he's signed to. I feel like I definitely saw that somewhere. So, who knows? But I will say this, and Josh can be a testament to it if he's still in this group chat. But when Timeless came out, it was a little bit before Royal Rumble. And I sent Josh a text message and I said, watch, I bet Timeless is going to be one of the themes for WrestleMania. And it turns out it is. So I'm happy with my prediction there. All right, so what you guys are going to see here shortly is we are going to figure out what that custom truss was that I mentioned earlier. There's a custom truss that goes between these two pieces right here, and we are going to actually get it sorted. We're going to get it figured out because we have these towers that will go on the other side, and these towers will have to line up in a central manner. So let's get it done. So let's grab our roof truss from the other side. It would be easy, I used to do my models this way. It would be easy just to flip, right, like the connections, but then things wouldn't connect, like male to female guide points or anything. It wouldn't connect properly. So nowadays I just use the actual piece. So all right, so there's that roof truss, and here is the other one, our tower head connector. Love for you guys to work, Giovanni, or sorry, Gianfranco. Thank you. I appreciate the work, or I appreciate the compliment about our work. All right, and let's connect that. Okay. So these two pieces are connected. Now you can see at the very bottom, we're off center, right? So let's bring this over to center, and then we will have a gap in our other side, and that gap will need to be filled, and that's where our custom truss will go. And you know, I've seen enough photos of this stage, even on the back end, where I know that there's a custom truss that goes in there. You know, it looks weird. It looks weird on the stages and such. So, all right. So we have 1350 between these 2 points. We're gonna drag that, and we're gonna line this up as well. So one tower to the other, and let's move you over. So we could see, oh, did I do this wrong? No. All right, there we go. Now this is fixed. Okay. So we'll go back over to our midpoint, and we'll move this over. And now we are centered up. And wherever our gap is where that custom truss is gonna go. It's gonna go right there. All right, so you guys see that gap? Boom. So there's our culprit. So we're gonna put another truss here. Now, if you guys saw me make that custom truss earlier, it's basically the same routine. However, we are going to do a couple things a little bit different here. So we'll make that unique. We'll drag this connection point over so we know where our ending is. All right, and we'll take this out as well. You guys can see that we have a lot of lines to actually like dispose of, which is okay. We have these points to get rid of as well. A lot of times in the custom truss pieces, as well, you know, they don't have like these connectors in here, so I always think it's kind of like an interesting factor. Actually, you know what? We're just going to do this because this would be a lot easier. Save me a little bit of time. We'll take our old custom truss and we'll make a custom truss out of the custom truss. So let's go over here. Point to point. Yep. Coast to coast. Designs. Do you think WWE would ever have a Wrestlemania at a baseball stadium or any PPV? Oh yeah, man, they've been doing shows at baseball stadiums. You know, Royal Rumble last year was in a baseball stadium. So yeah, do I think that they'll take Wrestlemania back to a baseball stadium? It'd be hard to say. It'd be really difficult. You know, the last time that they did Wrestlemania in a baseball stadium was WrestleMania 19. And you know, that it's a great show. I love that stage, in that environment, that setup that they did. But it's just I don't know if they want to go bigger. But dude, I mean, they could have done, you know, WrestleMania this year is fixing to have you know, just over 50,000 fans, and it's like you could have done that in an MLB stadium as well. You know, in a baseball stadium. So, you know, who knows? Who knows? I don't. So, that's all right. Okay, let's get this piece going. And we'll move that over here. We'll expand it. And we will move our socket point over to where it needs to be. And I'm pretty sure that is supposed to be 365. So 362 is pretty dang close, but I fixed it. All right. And this is how we're going to do our block, because I know this needs to be set up to where we have some cross points. There's actual cross points in the real image, and I'm pretty sure they cross over each other, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we'll do one over here, and the other one will go on the other side, just like that. I'll highlight those two, and because I have two center points, I'll bring that over, and now our center points are aligned. That can go. And our tubing earlier was 42 millimeters, so we will stick with that. Precise 8, and there we go. So there's our custom truss that fits on the back end there, except actually there's one thing that I need to fix. I don't think anyone else would ever care about this, but it's just not how steel works. These need to be lined up. So this one needs to be flipped over. There we go. Okay, now we're in business. All right. It's 42.8. Perfect. Cool. So now we have our custom truss. As you can see, we have still greatly ignored this side, but we will fix that here right now. And this is where, you know, it's going to look a little lazy of me to do it like this, but it saves me a lot of time, trust me. So we'll copy that, we'll paste, we'll flip, we'll move these things over. I just have to figure out where it is that we are in this model. Okay. All right. I know where we're at. Okay. So we'll move that over. And cool. I'll make this a group just so I can start editing things out that, you know, I've already done. So these roof trusses can go, this tower can go, that can go, this tower can go, but not our angle again. That will not go anywhere. All right, cool. Cool. All right, sweet. So this is the, oh man, almost forgot one piece. Our tower's on the back. These have to go. So they have to be part of the model. Otherwise, this model does not stand on its own, you know, gravitationally. That is actually one thing I'm going to say is when Josh and I are making a lot of these models, we do legitimately try and go for real world precision and building techniques, right? So like anything that we do, you know, for the most part with confidence, I can bring it over to a staging company and I can be like, hey, this is our idea. And they'd be like, hey, that actually would be able to be built. And that's what we do. Or at least that's how we try and build. You know, I always want to make sure everything can be properly supported. Things aren't just randomly floating in the air or, you know, stuff like that. So, Okay, so here we are. This is the Wrestlemania 26 skeleton. We are getting somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to entirely finish this model during the stream, but this is the skeleton at the very least. This is the main thing that I wanted to clean up. So we are actually, what we're going to do, it's going to seem a little lazy of me. I'm going to redo the Titantron because I do want to show you guys how this is done. But I am going to take these LED panels and such. And I might even just do the stage base again. You guys can kind of see how everything's done from that vantage point. All right. So we'll paste in place. This is probably going to be nowhere where it needs to be. That's typically how it happens. It's probably not even going to be aligned with any of the model. Where do you think WrestleMania should go? Somewhere they haven't been. I'd love to see WrestleMania go to Boston, to be honest. They have the Gillette Stadium out there. I think it would be really cool. So, being at a WWE show, a baseball stadium sucks. Watching from home is better. Yeah, you know, sometimes the best seat is the one right by the bathroom with free food. So, I'll be honest, I didn't realize that they had a baseball stadium. If WWE held WrestleMania in a baseball stadium, which one would they do it at? Las Vegas, they're about to get a new baseball stadium, but they're already hosting at Allegiant Stadium, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Oh, man. Yeah, these tiles, this is a mess. Okay. All right. So we're about to try and line this up as best as we can. So all these tiles, there's a company that WWE used, and you guys can find this out online too. But there's a company that WWE used during WrestleMania's 25 and 26, and it was called PRG. And they had like these LED panels that they used. And they're like a unique size. It's kind of odd, but they use these panels in for WrestleMania's 25 and 26 specifically. And so I've already made these panels. That's what you guys are seeing. That's what I'm gonna be dragging onto the stage itself is these panels. I don't have to worry about the accuracy of these because I've already counted these panels several times. So I'm not gonna worry about that. So yeah, okay. All right, that is lined up as well. Let's see what's happening here. You're missing a bar at the top. Am I? I'll go back and I'll check it out. I know I still have the LED, like the diagonal wall to do. So if that's what you're talking about, I'm well aware. All right. Cool. Okay. These are sort of lined up. Sort of. Oh, yes. This bar. Yeah, I'm missing a couple bars up here. What do you think this year's stage is going to look like? Man, I hope it looks good. I don't even care what it looks like. I want it to look good. I hope it looks good. So, That's the main piece. All right, let's do these bars here. Okay, there's 6 and an 8. 6 and an 8 bar. All right. So let's grab that again. 6 and 8. Coming from the Stageco template. And when are we going to be putting graphics on these LEDs? Josh does all the graphics. So this model that you guys are seeing, this is just the building of it. Okay. So this will not turn into like an animation at any point during this stream. This is just building it, answering your guys' questions. Any questions about stages that you guys have, or Wrestlemania, or just wrestling in general. Like, I want to make this, more interactive, an interactive platform. So, not just a one-sided thing, because we don't upload too often, obviously, as you guys know. But I do want to do a lot more live streams because this is stuff that I am always working on. And, I always see the comments from you guys saying like, hey, the guy finally remembered his passwords, and, Josh and I, we're always logged into this account. It's just, a lot of these animations and these renders, they take a lot of time. And so I figured, well, we can put together like a live stream to kind of show how things are done. And that's what we're doing here. So that's where we're at. What stage do you think doesn't get enough attention? Oh man. A stage that doesn't get enough attention. Talk to me about like a WrestleMania stage, or just a stage in general. And also, Josh, have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Shoot me a text if you need anything. I'll be around. So, peace. What stage do I think doesn't get enough attention, Zach? About Mania? Dude, honestly, like, I think the WrestleMania 19 stage does not get enough attention. And there's a specific reason why. Is if you guys look back at that stage, it's crazy. Okay? It's like a crazy stage just on its own. It's very minimal, but it also it has 0 obstruction points. That's how, they were able to sell out Safeco Field with no problem, because that stage was not obstructing a single seat in the house, but it's massive. And I think it's a really cool testament to Jason's design for that. So I would say probably, the WrestleMania 19 stage, because of just how it was uniquely built. I miss unique pay-per-view stages? Oh yeah. Yeah, all the time. I wish they would do more, but I understand why they don't. But I really wish that they did. So, I definitely miss them. Some of the first sets that I think about when I think about like the unique pay-per-view stages is, a stage like Armageddon, from 2006 through 2008. They did a few different changes to that set, but man, that's probably one of the coolest sets that you'll find out there. And it's like crazy how it was made too. Just like the the elements that they used, it's kind of wild. I found it one day, and all like the castle stuff. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. It's all like mobile home stuff. It's wild. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's cool. So, that big WrestleMania banner was a great touch. At which WrestleManias? Because they did it for a few years. You're talking about WrestleMania 19. Yeah, man, like that WrestleMania banner at 19 is absolutely crazy. It's a really neat design, like I said, and yeah, it's just like the fact that it doesn't obstruct any views from anyone in attendance. It's just a really cool design that I just don't think anyone really thinks about too often. All right, we are getting somewhere. Okay, so we're gonna jump back to this model. I'm gonna open up the LED tiles. I'm just gonna show you guys basically how this is done, because I do have the right tiles on this, but we're just gonna make it. So I know that this is 12 panels wide and 9 panels high, so it's 12 by 9. So which makes sense because at the time they were doing these, in 2010, they're in the HD era, but it was like the 720 by 480. So this is basically like the same dimensions. So yeah, so let's do this. And they had a connector that went across like I think 2 panels. So it's one or the other on these ones, but I'm pretty sure it's those yellow panels that we're looking at. So we'll minimize, and we'll paste, and yeah, it's okay. It's definitely the yellow ones. All right, and I'll actually switch over to color here in just a moment. You guys will see. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is take a measurement here. And all right, so it's 1280. All right, this is a great point actually. So 1280 by 960. I said that the Titantron was 12 by 9, so this matches up. And we will make this go over 2 because it is 1 cable per 2 panels. And so we will do it like that. We'll widen this over because it's holding 2 panels. And I'll check chat in just a moment to answer any questions that you guys might have as soon as I can grab this measurement here. Hit the option key. This is a good trick for those of you that use SketchUp. If you hit the option key while you're scaling, it scales to both ends. So it's very easy to work with that. All right. Let's jump back into this chat. The new production design since WM40, do you expect a toned down Wrestlemania stage this year? And do you prefer a dark and white lighting or colored lights in the crowd? Okay, I don't expect a toned down WrestleMania stage this year, but it's just hard to say. It's going to be hard to know no matter what, just because it's a new direction. I'm still hopeful that things are going to turn out pretty nicely, though. As far as crowd lighting, I know that the live crowd hates the blinding lights, but I do like when the crowd is lit up in the ambiance of the show. I just think it looks good. Why do WWE use really boring stages right now? Okay, I feel like I'm gonna come off as like really defending their team, and I guess in a way I am, but this is the reason why. It is because at the end of the day, they have to make money, right? They're a business. So they're going to make money. And one of those ways that they're going to make money is by saving production costs. Because it costs a lot to build these stages. And when they have like the, when they have, versatile elements like the LED panels and such, that they're able to do a bunch of unique designs on just LED, it saves them a lot of money, especially in their scenic department. And so that's why a lot of the stages that we see nowadays are just like LED walls. And also when they do the pay-per-views and they have the smaller, tunnel stages and such, they will be able to sell more tickets. Now, does this mean I like the design of it when they do things like that? No, like not really. I miss those unique designs, but I will say, like a stage like SummerSlam 2024, I thought was awesome. Like I thought that stage looked so cool, because it was still unique, and it was still a tunnel entrance, but it allowed for that crowd ambiance to still be there, and it just it didn't take away from anything. It still seemed like a really neat design. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, cool. I don't know why these other panels did not change at the same time, but I'm just going to make one that changes with all of them. So yeah, I mean that's the reason why that they do it is it's just for saving costs, and I totally get it. I get why they do it. Am I a fan that they do it? It's whatever. Like I know that that's the reason. I know that they probably want to be more creative too. It's not that the production team is not wanting to be creative. Those guys, those are all creative individuals. They all want to do those. They all want the WrestleMania set every month for different pay-per-views. It's just sometimes the company won't budget it, and I understand why. So that's what that is. Having boring stages with the new price of Mania tickets is unacceptable, though. Hope we get something better than last year. I hope we get something better than last year too. Yeah, those Mania ticket prices are absolutely insane. I'm expecting to be at the show under like photography duty, and if I was not going to be doing photo duty, I would not be able to be at the show because it is very expensive. So yeah, I totally understand. Totally understand what you mean about that. All right, let's grab these other LED panels because we just did the Titantron. I'm going to grab these PRG panels first because I have newer low-res tiles, and we're going to use those instead of the ones that are already in the model. But let's grab the PRG ones first. We probably got about like 30 more minutes in the stream, just as a heads up to everybody. Probably about 30 more minutes, and I'll be done with this. So, but we're nearing the end of this, the general build of this stage. So hopefully, as you guys have been watching this, you guys have kind of gotten a bit of insight on to what goes on, with building these stages. And I just found our mistake. Aha. Okay. All right. I don't know if anyone. I don't know who's been here for the longest amount of time. I think some of you guys have been watching from the beginning. But earlier I said, man, something is not lined up here properly. And I found our culprit. All right, so here we go. Bam, lined up. All right, cool. Now we're in business. Does that mean that the other one is not lined up, though? The other one is not lined up. Does that mean all of them are not lined up? No, it's literally just like this tower. But this tower plus the other one behind it, it could be a little bit off. But you guys see what I mean? Like, this is the detail that I put into these models. I want to make sure everything looks really, really good. once we make it. Okay, so this tower is not lined up either. All right, so let's line that up. Is this back one off? Nope. Back one is good to go. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So this is our WrestleMania 26 set so far. We've been in here for 2 hours. It's absolutely crazy how time flies like that. We're going to be nearing the end here pretty soon. Like I said, all right, we'll clean up some of these pieces. There's our other base. Now we'll go over here. What do you think of the stages made for Saudi Arabia? I don't really care for the Saudi Arabia stages. I actually I'm gonna backtrack on that. I think the crown jewel stage that they made like a while back, with the giant crown, I always thought that looked like really neat. I always thought that was a really like cool design. So, yeah, I can't say that I totally disliked them. But like the what was it? Super Showdown, like a couple years ago, or not even a couple years ago. I think it was 2018 or 2019. Yeah, when Shane McMahon was a heel. Man, that stage, it was just a flat screen. Even just recently when they were in Saudi Arabia, they did a flat screen kind of stage. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but also, I understand why they did that too, because they had to film for Raw and SmackDown, and so they needed to, film and have a set that resembled TV, because things are going to be in canon on TV, and yeah, like, so I mean, I understand that too. I just didn't care for the design. The TV set that we see on screen right now, that's a set that is just compiled of the old TV set, just split into, it's just split into two different versions. So, I mean, it saves them money on the road, right? They don't have to travel with as much gear, or they're able to set up two stages in one place. So, like I said earlier, I understand why they do the things that they do. I don't have to like it, but I understand it. So that's where we're at. We are fixing this set right now because there was a couple towers that were off earlier. So we're going to actually just be remaking those and making sure that they line up. Why are you making the WrestleMania stage? Just curious. It was just something that I want to make for the channel. You guys always wanted to see kind of how things are built, and with WrestleMania season, I felt like this would be a cool project. I want to do live streams of different stages depending on the month that we're in. So April usually is WrestleMania season. Maybe next month I'll do something like Backlash or stuff like that. But I definitely want to. I want to be more interactive with this channel. You guys are super supportive of us. So I just felt like this would be a cool project. To do. So we're going to go back over into these LED panels one more time, and we're going to grab our last piece of LED that we are going to need for this set. Those Raw and SmackDown look kind of odd. Are you talking about the ones, are Are you talking about the ones in Europe? I thought they looked pretty cool, actually. All right, we got 8 panels over here. This is going to, whoops. Gotta grab that cable motor, otherwise these are just gonna be floating. So I titled that component LED wall LQ, and that just means it's an LED wall that is low quality. It's just what they use. It's a low quality LED wall. It's low res. You know, it doesn't take up that much power, but it fills up the space. They used these a bunch, really all the way up until WrestleMania 38. I think that was the last time that we saw them, but they debuted at WrestleMania 23. So yeah, these Chromatech walls, they have been around for a long old time. And we've got 9 of them right here. These are going to hang. Any idea on why the WrestleMania 35 stage was basic? Beats me, man. It beats me. I think, I don't know. I can't even tell you what I think because I have no idea what I think. I'm going to say one nice thing about WrestleMania 35 though, which is that the overhead structure that they had was insane and easily saved the entire design. And I would almost actually wager to think that because so much thought had been put into the overhead, that not as much thought was put into the stage itself. It's not to knock the design of the WrestleMania 35 stage either. I mean, there are things about that stage that looked absolutely amazing. You know, once the sun went down and you know, we were able to see a couple more factors with it. You know, it's a giant. It's basically like a giant TV, but like some of the graphics looked freaking awesome on it. So like I can't hate it that much, but I just thought it was underwhelming, especially because in that same building we had the WrestleMania 29 set, which looked so cool. So that's really where my mind is at with it. But I think that overhead was so state of the art. You know, it's kind of funny, like looking back from like WrestleMania's 33, 34, 35. You know, all 3 of those, they utilized a circular screen, and it just every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I always think that's kind of funny. So, yeah. Let's jump back over here. Let's see how many panels we got. So each one of these are stacked by 2, and they will just follow each other into the gaps. Cool. And let's check out the chat. I was talking about the one in Saudi. It was like Raw, but with WM pillars around the ring. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Is you know, those Saudi Arabia stages, like, unlike this last run, and usually in general, like they're in buildings that they can't really like hang a lot of rigging, and so they have to build it from the ground up, or they can't hang rigging at all, and you know, it's just that's what happens. So they have to improvise, and you know, that's why we get the you know, the ground support overheads from WrestleMania is or for WrestleMania at times, like when they're in a venue that doesn't really, you know, support rigging that well or has no roof. The only one that I'm always like super confused about is, I think it was the Royal Rumble Was it 2022 was in St. Louis? Yeah. And man, they had a ground support overhead, but that building had more than enough room to do rigging, and it wasn't a retractable roof either, so it's not something that you really had to worry about. I just don't know why they did the ground support overhead there. But for the Saudi Arabia shows, yeah, they usually will just have to resort to, like, I don't know, the ground support overheads. Yeah, I'm trying to talk while I'm doing some of this math. While we're going over here, okay. And let me jump back to the chat. See what you guys are saying. When Muhammad Ryan, when will the WrestleMania stage be uploaded? The WrestleMania 41 stage, as soon as Josh is done with all the ballyhoo and such. It's really close. Honestly, we expect it to be up within a couple days. We're gonna do an initial showcase preview of it. That way you guys are able to see everything, and then we'll probably do entrances separately. But we'll do the initial showcase here probably in a couple short days. So yeah, so stay tuned. All right, let's delete some of these panels. I think that last one, is it 2 or 3? There's 3. Okay. Wouldn't it be making more sense? It's more current, maybe this year's Mania. I wish I could make this year's Mania right now. But the thing is, this year's Mania hasn't even been built. So, I'm going to save our design for its actual preview. So, yeah, I mean, just hang tight there. When the WrestleMania 41 stage is actually revealed, I will do a live stream of building that set. So that is something that I'm definitely going to be doing for the channel. Let's jump back over here. Let's see. I actually like the WrestleMania 35 design as a whole. The stage is mid, but everything else looked nice. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, that overhead structure is absolutely unreal, and and I really think that's where a lot of the thought had gone over into, which I can't hate because it looked amazing. Like, I remember seeing the leaks coming out from that stage, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it looks absolutely unreal. Okay. I personally like the pyramid theme setup for WrestleMania 26. Me too, man. That was like super unique. I think the WrestleMania 26 set, aside from 35, is probably like one of like the biggest like curveballs of a stage ever. Like, I don't even think nowadays I would be able to have thought of something like that, like an Aztec pyramid. I thought it looked awesome. It looked so cool. So yeah, there's that. We are going to make the slanted screen for this. So let's do that. So what you guys are seeing is my truss template. This is just standard truss, so different than Stageco. You can actually see right here, I have the WrestleMania 38 truss that is just sitting around. You know, those are each their own pieces in here. So if you guys can see it like that, really love it. Yeah, that's a cool one. The 2 levels overhead used for SummerSlam looked crazy. Yeah, I was there for that show, and that kind of blew me away. I understand why they did it. They actually did it for the AR graphics that played, but man, it looked weird. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that was a really bizarre, kind of setup. So, all right, let's make this screen really quick. we'll go back over here because I still have the actual setup. All right, so we have, oh man, we have blocks everywhere, huh? All right, cool, no problem, no problem. All right, so it's 4, and there's blocks between each truss, and at the bottom, there's 2. All right. So hopefully this is going to be seen, you know, it's going to be painless, because truthfully, when I have to model with truss blocks like this, I really, really don't like it. Just in the beginning, like once you figure out the pattern, you know, it's fine, but sometimes it's just like, it's just boring. You know, it's just what it is. You know, when we're putting these together, I know you guys really like the output, you know, the end result, but sometimes is just a daunting task. So let's do it like this. Oh man, is that even gonna line up? Did that line up? Yeah, okay, it did. And we'll do the other one. Copy, paste that. Oops. Oh, there's no way. All right, cool. All right. And I know I copied that over, so let's move that one up 1. Okay. And we will move this over to the side. If you guys notice, like the SR, that stands for stage right. The other side stands for stage left. USDS stands for upstage, downstage, just in case anyone wanted to know why those are up there. Upstage is always means that you're facing the stage. Downstage means that you're facing away. And then SR means that when you come out from the stage and you're facing downstage, you're at stage right, and then the other one is stage left. So, okay, and let's move this over here. My graphic designer, yeah, I do know how to do graphic design. Really, like any sort of digital media, I've done it. Like video editing or graphic design, logo design, like all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I know how to do it. So, motion graphics, though, I will say, like, that's a bit tougher, but it's still like I can do it. It's just I'm not as good as most people are with it. But like if I needed to do it for a project, I would do enough to know how to make it look good. Yeah, the overhead structures for WrestleMania 24 and 26, they're pretty crazy. I will say this much, which is the WrestleMania 26 overhead, particularly. So WrestleMania 24, sorry, I'm going to jump all over the place when I'm talking about these two because this is like a really, really good conversation. People wonder why we don't see structures like WrestleMania 24 and 26 as far as their overheads go. And the reason is honestly because of this. One, WrestleMania 24, this was like the first time that they did overhead structures outside. And so they had to basically make something that was custom that could suffice with, you know, the rain and everything. And so there's a lot of like custom pieces that had to be used that would not be able to be used again. And with WrestleMania 26, I think the thing that they wanted to do was keep it different. And when they kept it different, they almost risked not being able to do that overhead at all because of, you know, structural weight. There's a document that you guys can find online if you do a little bit of research, and it tells you about how close they were to not being able to do WrestleMania 26 because of the overhead. The legs of the overhead were actually sprawling out a little bit, and almost couldn't bear the weight of the rigging above. So it's a really, really interesting document, and it's out there online. If you guys ever wanted to, read a little bit more into it. So we're doing our pieces right now for the video wall. This video wall has kind of been done to death by me. I've probably made this video wall in particular, like, I don't know. This has got to be like 8 times by now. So you guys are watching me, and I even jump back to the other project just because I already know like everything that needs to be done here. So yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. The only good thing about 35 is that it's an easy stage to recreate. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. Actually, you should have done that stage today. It probably would have taken me a little bit less time. Coolest overhead, in my opinion, was WrestleMania 31, so unique and futuristic. Man, I wish that they would do something like that again for WrestleMania 31. I love that overhead. We actually did a rendition of that for WrestleMania 40. For our concept, at least, I used that same skeleton. I've always been a big fan of that design. My favorite WrestleMania design was 29 or 38. Yeah, they're both great. Hate on WrestleMania 32. One's Force BTW. Not sure what that means. I love the 32 design, though. That's just, it kind of reminds me of 19, right? Like, it didn't obstruct anything. So I think that's a win. What do you think, Chris? 100-yard entrance ramp going to return? Like the one that we saw at 33? Probably not. Probably not unless they can find another stadium to do a set like that. But the only one would be Raymond James Stadium for 37, which they didn't do. But hopefully they return there one day. The WrestleMania 41 ramp is actually going to be pretty long, from what I've seen. So I'm very interested about that setup. That'll be a longer ramp. Thanks for being part of our childhood, though. Hey man, if you ever need a video editor, I got you, Jay. I appreciate it. I hope we get a huge ramp for this year. Last year was so small. Yeah, last year's ramp was a little small, but yeah, I mean, the ramp at least this year will be long. I don't know if it's going to be like super tall, but it's going to be long. So we'll have to wait and see. WrestleMania 32 is crap mania, but yeah, I'm saying like there are stages that belong to that are at WrestleMania that are, the show itself was not great, but some of those stages they're really, really, really neat, and I think 32 belongs in that conversation for sure. Sorry guys, I'm trying to just make this piece really quick. It's kind of giving me some trouble. All right, there we go. Let's take these out, and we'll move these guys up. There we go. And this should line up in theory. Bam, look at that. 50 feet. What's your favorite Mania entrance? Oh, that's actually a really, really good question. My favorite WrestleMania entrance. Man, there's been so many good ones. So many good ones. Um, Honestly, it's a really, really tough question to answer. I'm gonna have to think because, like, one of the first ones that come to my head is, uh, what is it? WrestleMania. What? 23 is the Undertaker's light right behind him. I always think that's a really, really cool one. Um, I think Rhea Ripley's entrance from 40 was really cool. That one I feel different about because I was there live, right? Like there's just some that from a live perspective I'm like, man, this is cool. Seth Rollins from last year I always thought was really good. Um, I would also say, man, the Shawn Michaels entrance from WrestleMania 25 is always a favorite of mine. Um, Edge from WrestleMania 24. That's always a cool one that I look back on. Nothing that's like crazy unique, but it's just the atmosphere, the vibe of it. I would also say probably Bray Wyatt's from WrestleMania 30. That's always that's a good one. Great question. As much as Triple H gets for over top entrances, 32 entrance with Stephanie on the podium was awesome. I mean that's a cool entrance too. It's not my favorite Triple H entrance from WrestleMania. Um, I would probably say, man, that 30. I don't know. That 32 one is pretty cool. I'm very nostalgic for the end of an era entrance though, like his one from 28. I always think that's such a cool setup. So, all right, guys, we're about 2.5 hours through this stream. I'm almost done with this set. So we have our diagonal wall, and that's gonna sit up. Set up right here. Now on the actual set, I am fairly positive that this just does not hold itself by the force of gravity. I'm not going to add what I think goes in here. I'm pretty sure it's like some couplers maybe, but it sits pretty flush on there. So we have that. You said you're curious about how I'll texture this model, to go through texture lighting and such. Well, the way I usually build my models is with the hidden line feature, but if I go back, like, this has all of the textures. It's all black steel. Like, if I zoom in, you can see the wood and everything. So I keep everything textured. It's just the hidden line is much more easier for me to distinguish where lines are in the entire model. I won't be able to do like any of the UV mapping. That's what Josh does on his own. One thing that I will be able to do though, if I can do it really quick, is do light fixtures. I can always add the fixtures for the stagecoach truss in there. Have you noticed WWE reduced the width of the ramp in recent years? Yeah, I mean they have, but it's also because they've been making like the WrestleMania stage bases, enormous. So that's just something to consider. Okay. Yeah, the motorcycle entrances, they were always I was never a big fan of them that much. you know, it looked cool the first time, and then when it repeated, I was like, okay, we gotta do something different. Let's see, WWE fan Eric. Cool. Nice to see you, Eric. All right, so there's some lights in there. Man. So yeah, you guys can kind of see this is a look. It's kind of like a 360 scope. You can see all the bases at the bottom. This set is like super complex. It's very straightforward, but it's also very complex. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks for hopping in the chat. The last thing that we're going to do for this stage, because I'm probably actually going to head out here fairly soon, is we're just going to drag this stage base in there. I've had to make this stage base a bunch of times, so I'm literally just going to grab this one that I already had made. This is all I really need for the set. And we will actually be able to take this as is. This will be our last piece that we need. Other than that, I've cleaned up this model quite a bit. And we will see here as I drop this in. I got the spinning wheel right now, so it just takes a little bit of time. There we go. We'll make sure that is centered. And this is also like the key thing that I do. So if you guys have been watching from the beginning, I start with this template that says USSR SL DS, which is my staging template, so I know where everything's going. But I always have this middle point marked, and everything that I make follows along that middle point. So I never have to question about if something is like truly centered or not. Yeah, everything aligns itself. We just have to make sure that it actually gets aligned over here. And yeah, you can kind of see my little gaps here. Something that I'll definitely have to fix for future. But we have our models, our light models at least. We'll throw those back. And I think I actually have to raise them up just a smidge. So, sweet. There we go. Can you show it in the stadium? I wish. I don't have the stadium fully assembled. I would have to do it from Madden. And I have to like pre-assemble it already. But, you know, maybe that'll be something that I make as like a community post on the channel. But yeah, this is the WrestleMania 26 set. So looks pretty all right. There's going to be a few things that I end up going back and probably touching up a little bit, but maybe Josh and I will do an animation with this. But I really wanted to fix up this model and make sure it looked good. So I figured while I do that, you know, I'd answer you guys' questions. So I'll leave this chat open. We can talk for probably about like 5 more minutes. So if you guys are trying to answer questions, or maybe if you want to see like a particular model that is not the WrestleMania 41 set, you know, I can show that to you guys. So fire away in the chat. As you can see, I'm very creative with my names. Close this window. Don't save. I know some of you guys are going crazy right now, seeing me hit don't save on some of these, but I don't need to save them. So yeah. Actually, here's something I will show you guys that I think is really cool. Is whoever handles the lighting, video, pyro also planning the stream to everything? Okay, no. So yes and no, but what I do is I will make these stages, right? Like I'm Chris, so I make Travis, to answer your question. I make all the stages. So all the designs that you see on our channel, they come straight from me. I then pass them off to Josh. Josh is the person that does the lighting, video, and pyro. That links it all together. I decided to do a live stream for the channel just because I felt that I worked on this stuff enough already. And so I wanted to show it to you guys on basically how it came together. Now, Josh is also going to do live streams of how he does like the pyro and such, at some point. But this is primarily the stream is my end of things of how I come up with designs or how I build stuff, and then we'll eventually put it together. So yeah. Burl Sarin, I hope I said that right. I can actually pull up the WrestleMania overhead, the 19 overhead, because it's a trip to actually see in itself. So let's check that out. So this is the WrestleMania 19 overhead. I made this quite a while ago. This absolutely took forever to get right. I'll delete those because I still need to align those. But the WrestleMania 19 overhead has like no rhyme or reason as to why it is the way it is. It looks cool from above. It's a fairly unique design. It looks cool from the sides too, but it's absolutely crazy. This took a lot of looking through different pictures and such to really understand where things were for this overhead. It's actually quite wild. The other overhead that's in my opinion even crazier is the WrestleMania 18 overhead. And I can pull that up too. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So this is the WrestleMania 18 overhead. This thing is even crazier. So if we go to perspective, doesn't look like that. Doesn't look like much from above, but it is like a whole vortex. And it's absolutely wild to look at. This was another one that I had to go through a lot of reference images to actually understand what was going on. There was an article actually, thankfully, that mentioned how big each one of these vortex rings were, which helped a lot in making this. But man, this is an absolutely wild one. 18 and 19. Those WrestleMania overheads, they're absolutely crazy. The other one that's pretty cool is 23. I can pull that one up as well. And this one also, looks wild from the side. From the top, it doesn't look like anything much. It's a couple trusses. Oh, I think actually there's. Oh yeah, okay. It's 8 trusses, or 8 angles of truss. But then when you look at it from the side, it's all complex. I mean, this is an awesome overhead. This is probably one of my favorites, and I always think about all the pyro that shoots off from the side of it. So, really, really cool stuff. Definitely a favorite of mine. As far as like a rigging overhead goes, I would also say the 34 one, the WrestleMania 34 overhead is I think really, really neat. Yeah. So I'm basically just looking through the chat right now, but I mean, do you guys have any other questions? I'd be happy to answer. Let's see if there's I want to see if there was anything that I could show you guys. You can see how many different Wrestlemania 41 ideas I kept surfing through. Yeah, this is definitely one. I'll show you guys this one. I showcased this on the community tab not too long ago, but this was a Wrestlemania 41 concept that I did a while back. Now this one I made because I wasn't sure if they were going to do the lower stage again. I really loved this design, especially for like the Minitron. I felt like this was like really, really cool. And it was super simple, right? Like the design technique for this is super simple, but it's very, very effective. And then if you guys recognize, this font that I used up here was actually used in our WrestleMania 34 concept. It's just a cool font. A lot of the casinos use it. New Orleans, obviously, they have a bunch of signs with it. It's a French style font. It's pretty neat. So yeah, this was a really cool set. Curved LED on this makes it look awesome. Yeah, these were it's a new row panel that they released. The company Row, ROE. And it's like it curves, and so I decided to use those. I think it took about like 8 of them per panel or per truss, and then it's just 2 trusses that are made in an S shape and they just hang. So yeah, this was an early design. One of our you'll notice a couple like elements in our video that ends up popping up, but yeah, this was something that was like very simple for me to try and think of. I'm trying to think of anything else I can show you guys, just in the meantime. You guys can see, oh yeah, this WrestleMania 41 official. This is nothing special. This is just a collection of trusses for right now, but this is stuff that I saw in the leaked pictures. So in the leaked photo, I was able to see, all right, you guys have trusses over here, so this is something that I'm probably going to end up jumping back to a couple times just to see, like, all right, what other things, these are elements that I'm going to have to go back to and see where they are put in place for the actual show. So there's nothing much to do with these right now, but eventually they will be useful. So yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. And then I'm probably going to head out. Ooh, yeah, there's a WrestleMania 42 idea right there. I don't even think you guys can see what that is. So let's see what else is in here. All right, I did show this during the pilot stream. I don't mind showing it again. There's 25 of you guys in here. If people want to watch this back, they can. But this is an idea that I'm working on for SummerSlam 2025. Some of you guys, when you guys saw the pilot stream, you guys saw this, but this is a more minimalistic stage. I know not everyone really likes it, but trust me, when this is showcased, when Josh and I actually finally do all the lighting and rendering for it, it's going to look pretty dang cool. I'm actually very, very excited about this set. For as little as it looks, it's going to look really, really cool once it's all put together. So yeah. Other than that, this is SketchUp Pro 2025. So, but other than that, guys, I'm going to head out because I'm going to have some lunch. We've been in here for almost 3 hours, so I appreciate you guys sticking around and joining the live stream. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel. What software do I use? I'm still reading the chat, so if you guys have more questions, feel free to fire them along. But I'm telling you, I'll probably head out here in a moment. I use SketchUp Pro 2025 to make the stages, and then Josh will use Depends R3 in order to animate and do all the video and lighting and pyro and everything. So, yeah. But yeah, feel free, like the video. You can donate. You can donate to Venmo if you guys want. Super chats. Super chats for future streams and such. Don't forget to subscribe. Wrestlemania 41 video dropping in a couple days. So keep a lookout. We'll probably give you guys one more teaser on the community post. Aside from that, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Be sure to watch Raw tonight. Also, give us your thoughts. We worked with a company called Stance. They released a WWE licensed product with Cody Rhodes, and we were able to design the WrestleMania 38 backdrop for that figure. So let us know what you guys think about that. You can pre-order it. There's a link in our community post. So yeah, check it out. Other than that, I'm going to sign off here. All 25 of you, you've been great. That number really hasn't jumped a lot, but I appreciate every single one of you. And we're going to head out. Burl Soren, I appreciate it. Happy Monday. We're passionate about this stuff. So, we just like being able to share that passion with you guys. So, okay, be well, stay safe, take care. Later, everybody.